Your security controls are probably built to catch someone breaking in, right? But here's the reality check for August 2026. Attackers aren't breaking in anymore. Credential theft has completely shifted from slow, human-paced efforts into highly automated, machine-speed harvesting of pre-existing keys. We're talking about attackers just scooping up keys that are already sitting right there on the table.
So, let's define exactly what we're up against, the standing key crisis. This is the systemic architectural flaw where credentials exist as standing, static, broadly usable values. They're just sitting there, tucked into local config files, lingering in public commits, or hanging out right in memory. And because they're just sitting there, attackers absolutely do not need sophisticated exploits to bypass your perimeter. The access they need is already waiting for them.
Section 1. Harvesting at machine speed.
153 gigabytes. Think about that volume for a second. That was the size of the light LLM archive compromise on PyPI. And what's truly mind-blowing here isn't just the size, it's the speed. This massive payload of stolen data was executed in just a 40-minute window. Not days, not hours, 40 minutes flat.
And the fallout from that single 40-minute window? Absolutely brutal. 118,829 CI runner credential dumps were exposed across 2,488 different corporate domains. By compromising a build pipeline scanner, these attackers didn't just expose some code, no. They systematically harvested every single standing key sitting in those pipelines, acting entirely at machine speed.
But hey, this extraction isn't just happening in CI pipelines. $10.69 million. That is the staggering amount extorted by the UNC 6617 help desk vishing empire. Their playbook? A remarkably simple phone call to spoof authentication portals and capture active sessions. But once they had that session, boom, automated exfiltration at lightning speed. The entry point was a simple human decision, sure, but the theft itself was relentlessly automated.
When you look across the 9 major entry points we've seen, one thing becomes crystal clear. Your perimeter is essentially irrelevant if standing keys are present on the inside. I mean, consider GitGuardian's finding. 36% of reachable NN instances happily accepted, leaked, year-old public commits. Think about that. If the credential is valid, the attacker just walks right through the front door. Whether we're talking about memory resident server cookies, compromised maintainer accounts, or CICD pipelines, the root enabler is always the exact same thing, the standing credential.
Section 2. Target AI developer environments.
And that brings us to the chain drop worm. This is a highly evolved, self-propagating threat that specifically hunts for AI developer credentials to instantly hijack environments. This is not some generic scanner tripping over your keys by accident, okay? It is explicitly, purposefully hunting for the credentials that control your AI workflows.
Just look at the precision here. ChainDrop explicitly targets these exact files, .claude/credentials.json and .cursor/credentials.json. The attackers know these specific stores hold standing, unscoped power. They have meticulously mapped out exactly where AI coding assistants keep the credentials that allow them to act on a developer's behalf. It's totally weaponized.
To really ground this threat in reality, look at this example. A public Google Maps key silently inherited generative AI access when a team member enabled the generative language API on the exact same project. There was no notification, no reconsent required, and because it was a standing unmonitored key, it racked up an unauthorized charge of $82,314.44 in just 48 hours. Seriously, 48 hours. That right there is the ultimate proof of how dangerous unscoped standing keys truly are.
Section 3. The rotation treadmill fails. 64%. According to GitGuardian's research, 64% of credentials confirmed as leaked 4 years prior were still active and totally exploitable. 4 years later, you guys, not 4 days. This proves without a shadow of a doubt that relying on rotation and governance as your primary defense is just a failing treadmill.
Think about being stuck on that rotation treadmill. You've got post-breach rotation, endless manual governance, and permanent default validity. You're constantly exhausting yourself trying to catch up after the fact. Now contrast that with the design layer. This relies on pre-breach scoping, time-bound aliases, and automated revocation. It's an architectural solution. You're eliminating standing secrets entirely, rather than constantly scrambling to manage them after they leak.
Section 4. Shift to the design layer. Now, shifting to a design layer approach demands three non-negotiable publicly stated outcomes. Number one, scoped aliases that completely replace real standing credentials. Number two, context-bound access, meaning those aliases resolve to real access only at a highly authorized execution boundary. And number three, sub-2-second automated revocation when any anomalous behavior is detected. We have got to move entirely away from standing, long-lived credentials.
And here is the ultimate endgame of this architecture. When a developer's memory is scraped, or a repository is cloned, or a workspace is compromised, the attacker finds absolutely no standing authority, just useless aliases. The real credentials remain completely isolated and out of reach. Because the attacker only inherits a temporary alias that literally cannot be used outside of that specific context, there's absolutely nothing of value for them to harvest. Checkmate.
Which leaves every single CISO, identity architect, and platform engineer watching this explainer with one final critical question. Why protect keys that shouldn't exist in the first place? It is time to step off the rotation treadmill. Stop spending endless resources trying to defend standing secrets across endless entry points and start eliminating them entirely at the design layer.